Right, I think we are live. So, welcome back to Random Facts. This, of course, is my second live showing to some extent. And to recap from the first one, I am not used to going live, but then I feel like I'm comfortable sharing my knowledge with the world. The whole intention of this channel is to provide everyone with as much information, advice as possible when it starts and pertains to relationships, time management, right? And just motivation in general. All of us go through things in life, and what would be great to grow this channel into the whole perspective of basically having a online audience where everyone else can share their opinion of what they experienced during the day, no matter what it was. Might be positive, might be negative, and just have a communal discussion about it. But for the interim, as you can expect, there will be zero to little audience, and I look forward for when that gets achieved. So, take into consideration that obviously it takes time to build up a bit of an audience. I decided that I would do these different series where I run through different aspects of time management, and I'll try and work on 9 or 8 topics moving forward. But then, looking at the subject of tonight, we'll be focusing on what time management strategies and habits you can incorporate to basically win back time in your life. It's difficult because time is a very, very precious aspect of everyone's life. You can't just tie a monetary value to it. You can't decide that you want to buy some more time. I mean, in some aspects of it, you can. I mean, if you need to pay for a medical surgery to maybe do a knee replacement, might buy you some more time and everything else, but in principle, your heart has only so many ticks. So, time is valuable and it'll be good to utilize it as best you can. So, the biggest reason I got to this subject of time management, because every time that you hear time management and you're not an individual that you do strive towards it, you feel uncomfortable with the whole situation. But I think it's a fantastic habit to adopt because everyone thinks that when you do manage time well, that you need to spend the rest of your time only working. And that's not the case. So I think it's important that we utilize our time, as precious as it might be, to the best benefit of our own being. And yes, I know how to explain it better. Every person understands what their time is, what the value of their time is, and what their value is with their family, their friends, work environment, and all those aspects of it. So I'll touch base on how I actually got to this subject because it's a bit of a reflection that I had on myself. So let me run back. So as I was running to how to be more productive, I came across time management. And this is a while back where I decided that I had to introduce better time management strategies into my own life. And that's where I got to the point where I looked at what habits can you incorporate into your life to sustain or save more time over a certain period. And doing the research, this is a while back, what really made me motivated and got me to the point where I knew that it's something that I had to implement into my own life. And yes, I'm only a banana, but I do have little bananas, right? And other bananas to spend time with. And time is precious. time is valuable. So, running across all the research and everything else that I did, I came to the stunning shock, I would say, that it's actually ridiculous if you start breaking down what you spend your time on over the course of your whole life. So, depending how you value your time, I was personally very shocked on how much time you spend on sleeping, how much time you spend on working, and just even just eating, right? And this gave me the motivation and the focus that if I wanted to be like really proficient in time management, I need to adopt some habits. And that's what we're going to go through tonight. So, looking at different levels of what you spend your time on. And again, this is just based off analytics. It's based on an average of living until you're 75 years old. I decided to just sum it up and not go into the details and bore everyone with it. But if you look at it, this is obviously being a Superman at time management. Right on the right side of the screen, you'll see that there's basically a pie chart showcasing what and every portion of it means in your life. So, to provide some clarity on the subject, if you if you are 18 years old and watching this, right, that means when you're a child, you spend almost 23% of your life being a child. And in general cases, that's an awesome position to be in. Great time spent, etc. Then you spend another 8% of your life. And again, this is over an average group of people of 8% studying. So you go to your uni and your varsity, right? And you're studying, and your time spent there is roughly about 8% of your life. Then after studying, you get into the whole position of working. Working, even though it might feel that you're spending 80% of your life on it, right? Working accounts for about 23% of your life. And then if you go and look at one of the big kickers, it's sleeping. Sleeping accounts for 33% of your life over a course span of 80 years. Don't want to discount sleeping because, again, further in the series, you'll understand that I'll cover a topic where sleeping is also actually very important for you, which might not be an issue because after this video, hopefully, you can benefit from saving your time enough so that you can maybe add an hour or two extra sleep or at least get it to the healthy level. So, if you look at all the percentages that I basically just mentioned, you'll think that, come on, stupid banana, that's not 100%. And luckily, I'm very good at math, and I do know that. So, what is shocking about it is what the rest of the 8% is, right? So, if you leave the 8.5% that's left, that leaves everything else that I didn't mention. Everything you probably thought of as I went through the fact that you're working 22%, 33% of sleeping, you're a child for 22, you're studying for 8%, and you're eating. So the other 8.5% accounts for, first of all, your traveling from and to work in general cases, if it's driving a car, driving a train, or wherever you are in the world. It accounts for the leisure activities, for you going on holiday, maybe going out to a restaurant to eat or enjoy a drink or two with the buddies in the pub, and or just getting home and chilling on the couch, watching Netflix. So that accounts for 8.5%. So this really motivated me to isolate and understand where can you be more productive, what habits can you adopt to create more time for yourself to spend it however you want to. A lot of people have this uh, idea that if I'm more productive at work, I'm going to have to work more, or If I'm more productive at chores, I'm just gonna have to do more chores. But that's a fantastic portion of this, and just managing time is that you save so much time that you can utilize that time to such a degree that you want to. You can lie on the couch for another hour if you feel that's what you want to do. So that's a positive side of it. And I think a lot of people goes into the mentality of, why do I want to save more time? Because it's just going to force me to do more work or do more chores or etc. Which is not the case. The more efficient you're at work, you can be awesome at work and you can be awesome at just enjoying your life. And that is what the goal is. So feel free again to leave comments um, of what you think your time is spent on, and yeah, and what else you would like to know about this whole thing. So let's get back to the context of this whole live feed, and run through basically 5 habits that you can adopt to make yourself more time efficient. So in my personal life, this basically gave back probably between 20 or 25 hours a week just by adopting these different habits. It's not something that happens all at once, but as you work through the whole process, it's something that you really get proficient at, and it almost becomes an addiction, because the fact that you get to the point of try utilizing your own time to the degree that you want to just gives you that push, and giving or getting that satisfaction of yourself being in control just again pushes that motivation. It just creates that whole dopamine effect that you just want to continue doing it. So if I have to go into this, I want to dive into basically 5 powerful habits that will help you manage your time more effectively. So this will be applicable to you if you're looking to basically boost your own personal productivity at work, uh, or create more time for relaxation. And these strategies will basically give you more hours back in the day. Um, as I previously mentioned, these strategies, as soon as I started implementing them over a course of 2 or 3 months, adopting one at a time, we're going into this a little bit more later in the discussion, but it basically pushes you. It gave me almost 20 more hours a week just to do what I feel like I want to do. And your whole objective of understanding what you want to do when you do get to that point changes during the course of going through these habits and adopting them. So let's jump into habit number 1. So when everyone hears a to-do list, you want to automatically shut down because it just sounds like work. But in reality, and as crazy as I hear myself saying this, I have to admit that the to-do list is something that completely changed my whole approach to everything from my career to my personal life, because it's an active list, you can't miss it, and it's actually very satisfying to see how you're just crossing off all these activities one at a time, and also knowing that you're not going to forget something. Got home, forgot to buy milk. Guess what? That's going to stop happening to you. I mean, it's a small thing, but it might be worth it for you. So one thing that I can say is that if you do adopt this to-do list, habit number 1, I would say that's step 1. When you start with step 1, everything will slowly start integrating either parallel or basically lateral next to each other. So going from that, and the motivation to doing that is that it just ultimately helps you to manage time better. And again, I would like to remind everyone that it doesn't mean that you need to work that you need to be working more. It means you're working smarter, so you have more free time to spend with your friends, families, or just again chill on the couch with Netflix. Um, in my opinion, it's a win-win, right? Because you're owning your career, allowing you to excel in your career, and then you're basically acing it in your personal life, which reboots you to just continue excelling yourself in your career, your goals, and growth. So, in my experience, there's a lot of tools to do it. My personal preference is using Microsoft To Do, but again, there's a lot of apps and different apps out there that you can utilize, and a lot of them are. Let me just pull the slide up so that you can see the apps that I've summarized that, in general sense, works better across the board. So you'll notice that don't focus on the icons of it because I don't want any copyright issues. But in any event, the three apps that I would list, right, that works really well is a to Todoist. There's a free version and there's a paid version, and then you've got Microsoft To Do, which I personally use, and then you've got Google Keep. These apps are excellent for creating portable task lists that sync across your devices as well. So again, habit one, and I would personally state that habit one would be your most important one to integrate first in your life before you follow with the other four habits that I'm going to go over now. And because that's just step one. I always like to say that the first time that I got introduced to a to-do list and the idea of having a to-do list, um, I thought, well, that's great, so that I can look at all the things that I'm not doing, no matter where I am. But ultimately, that changes the whole situation. So, running into habit number two, and that is eliminate small time wasters. There's a long list that people can accept and understand of small time wasters. So, let me follow this and explain to you exactly what that would mean. Start by I would like to invite you just to identify that if you don't think that there's small time wasters, just to go and look at your screen time and analytics that you get from your iPhone. And I'm pretty confident that you'll be surprised. Scrolling for just 5 minutes a day adds up quickly. And as soon as you add up all these different times that you decide to break attention from work, break attention from something else, or you're on the train, or you're sitting at a traffic light. Remember, it's important. Don't text and drive, it's dangerous. But as soon as, if you're traveling to work and you're on the train and you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, again, it's natural, gives the brain, it's proven to give the brain a bit of a dopamine boost. And I think that is important to understand. Just again, if you have 10 5-minute sessions, that's almost an hour of your day. So running over this, um, I would invite you to a challenge, right? Check your screen time analytics and see how much time you actually spend on social media or any non-essential apps. Again, if you're career driven, you might be spending some time on LinkedIn, looking at the cool buildings coming up or some article that a person wrote, right? And just really dive into that and see if you can identify, can I shave at least 10 minutes off of that in a day? So if you only do that, if you decide that you'll stop 10 or 5 or 10 minutes of doom scrolling during the day, right? That can already save you an hour a week. So an hour a week, again, it's a bit of a drop in the bucket, but if you truly think about it, right, that is probably 2 episodes of your favorite series, or that's 60% of a movie that you could have been chilled, lying on the couch, watching, relaxing, rebooting for whatever challenges comes next the following day. So for me, a personal example is while waiting for my morning coffee, right, um, to basically heat up and boil, right, I go put on the kettle, fill the kettle with water, put on the kettle, go to the bathroom, wash my face, right? And by the time that I finish washing my face and basically waking up, I get back, the water's boiled, right? And again, that's a small win, but it adds up. If I didn't do that, if I woke up, walked slowly to the bathroom, put some cold water on my face just to force myself to wake up, right? Then walked over to basically the kettle, put it on the stove, waiting for it to boil to make some tea or coffee. I'll probably stand there and doom scroll for 5 minutes because what else do you do while you do that? So it's just that whole small time wasters that just adds up. A few other examples that I can possibly think of from small time wasters would be um, leaving notifications on, right? And getting distracted the whole time something happens. I'm not saying that you need to put the notification off for every time that I go live, but again, get your priorities right. It's every time that you do receive a notification, right? It automatically pulls your focus away from what you're doing, and as soon as your focus is pulled away from the current task that you're busy with, it generally takes people between 10 and 15 minutes just to get their concentration back to what they've been doing and continue working or continue with the activity that they were at. I don't know if you've personally experienced it, but it's like you're sitting and you're reading a book and your notification on your phone goes on. But you continue reading for about another 2 minutes and you're like, I'm dying. I need to see what that notification was. You get to the notification, you look at the notification, then you realize that I just read a whole page, but I can't remember. So now you need to go back, read another 2 pages. And again, that's 5 minutes. 5 minutes a day over a week, that's an hour. So, next example that I can give is waiting for a web page to load without multitasking. So, usually what I do personally is if I'm waiting for a web page to load, right, I'll continue scrolling through my emails or identifying my emails, anything that is more on an autopilot type of vibe. I'm not saying that you should be just rushing through important emails and everything else, but multitasking while you're waiting for it, right? I'm talking about emails, right? It's unnecessary to scroll through and rechecking emails. So if you're not focused and you're not sure that you're fully focused on the activity that you're doing, rather stop doing it, right? Maybe take a water break, go and drink a glass of water and go and sit down because ultimately the time that you're wasting to just continue going back and rechecking emails is unnecessary. Um, and I mean, another simple thing that you can think about that no normal person would is just in the morning. You're ready, you're woken up, finish your cup of coffee, did your reading, and now you're getting ready for work. But now you need to figure out what am I wearing for work? So staring at your closet for 5 minutes or mismatching this and that to try and understand maybe that is what I want to wear today. Again, those are time wasters. It might be stuff that you can do on autopilot the night before you go to bed, right? Because you're already tired, you're already in sleepy mode. Just put the clothes out and put it down. So I would say that you need to ask yourself, right, is what small time wasters could you eliminate in a day? When you identify them, find a creative solution to avoid repeating them. For example, automate online bill payments or batch similar tasks together, right? Or if you really feel like let's say you're scrolling through social media uh, an hour or 2 hours a day, maybe inducing the fact that you want to reduce it by at least only 5 minutes a day, right? Again, take small bites, go one at a time. But a good example that you can do is maybe just move your icon, your app icon. Like if you had Facebook or Instagram or anything on your second home screen, maybe move it to your last screen, because as soon as you scroll through it, you're immediately gonna know and recognize, wait, hold on, what else can I do with this time to save some time? So I tried tracking my screen time, but it took so long to scroll through the stats that I wasted even more time. So that's just a joke, of course. But that is the perfect premise of you shouldn't spend more time to waste or try and save time, right? Which is also very, very important. So that basically concludes eliminate small time wasters. So we've gone through have a to-do list, get an app, or um, get on your desktop, whatever works for you. Um, Secondly, we're sitting with a habit number two, which is a big one, is eliminating small time wasters. So now moving on to habit number three. So habit number three. This is habit stacking. So a good example of habit stacking is to basically incorporate activities. There's two portions of it. So um, it's a big game changer for me, in my opinion, because this is where you get into the deep of really saving time. It involves combining a passive activity, right? A passive activity can be classified as walking, running, ironing, um, doing some dishes, and then you basically um, combine that with an active activity, like listening to a podcast, audiobook, a YouTube channel like this one, like a banana staring at you over a screen, which basically allows you to double up on your productivity. But it's very important, though, to understand that it's very difficult to combine a passive and a passive uh, habit, an active habit, because you can't you can't run and watch dishes well, you probably can if you run and watch dishes at the same time, but it's probably going to be awkward and going to result in an injury. But what you want to do is something that is more mundane, where you're running but you're listening to your favorite book, or you're washing dishes and you're listening to a podcast that you always wanted to, or you can even balance that within work. If you feel like catching up on work tonight because you don't want to be stressed tomorrow, you can be washing dishes and listening to a seminar that you're supposed to report on the next day. So habit stacking is a very lucrative habit that you can really double up on time. So instead of watching a podcast for half an hour and then going jogging for half an hour, right? You're basically now jogging and listening to the podcast at the same time. You save half an hour for a week. It adds up. So um, another good example as well is like if you're going for a walk and you know that you have a few calls to make those calls while you're walking, right? Or while you're stretching or doing light exercises while watching educational videos, and just combining that whole passive and active habit at the same time. So, habit stacking basically injects productivity into otherwise mundane tasks. No one loves chores, but listening to a great podcast while folding laundry might make it a little bit more bearable. So it saves you time and it makes you a little bit less miserable because, I mean, let's be honest, who enjoys folding or washing laundry or dishes and everything else? Um, you might as well induce a habit that you enjoy that is active to make your passive habit better. So I tried habit stacking, um, listening to a podcast while doing laundry. But the problem is now all my clothes know way too much about self improvement. And of course, this is not a real scenario because I'm just a banana. But in any way, that is a very corny joke. Maybe the next time I should be representing myself as a bit of a piece of corn. Funny fact though about bananas, if you do want to find that out and enjoy my first very stressful live performance, you can go and check out the first video. All right, so we've covered habit number one, which is create a do list. It needs to be portable. It shouldn't stay on your fridge. And when you get to work or you're on your way back from work, you're still gonna remember that you're still gonna forget the milk. Eliminate small time wasters is habit number two, and then habit number three, which is a killer, is habit stacking. So not all the time that you have in a day is created equal. So this one is pretty crucial to understand. Understanding that your productivity levels fluctuate throughout the day, your energy, focus, and creativity aren't constant, right? So, two quick facts about that is research shows that most people experience peak productivity in the first 2 hours of waking up. Attention and focus tend to dip in the early afternoon. So, that is the typical post lunch slump. It's a worldwide thing. Every person has their own um, peaks and troughs of what your energy is, your focus, and your creativity. Your focus early in the morning versus 12 o'clock after you ran a marathon, had six business calls, is not the same as when you woke up. Again, in general sense, your brain resets while you're sleeping, so it won't be the same. It doesn't mean that it might not pick up again. You might have lunch, relax a little bit, your brain gets some time to breathe, and then your productivity might increase, your energy picks up, your focus works, and it might entice a little bit more creativity. But the basic principle of it is that you have ebb and flows of what um, your creativity, energy, and focus is during the day. So, my own personal example of when I went through all these habits and adopted them was to do all my mentally demanding and strong focused jobs, right? Like crunching numbers early in the morning when my focus is the sharpest. So by mid afternoon, my brain basically feels like a marshmallow. So as soon as I get to that point, I still want to be proactive, right? I still want to save time. I still want to hit I still want to hit my to-do list. I basically run through all my emails. I'm not saying that emails aren't important, but it's a bit of a very repetitive thing that you can do without, I want to say, really thinking hard, right? And that takes me basically through to lunchtime. Then, as soon as I have lunch, right, you're tired, brain feels like a marshmallow, right? And, or again, soggy like a banana. But that basically, as you go through the whole lunch period, you eat, get your head away from work, you reset to some degree. You might have an important meeting that afternoon, So it's very important to understand that your capacity of your mental intelligence, your focus, your energy is not the same over the course of the day, right? It's not a flat line. So a good example of like low brain power tasks when you feel like you've reached capacity is sorting and responding to emails. That's basically what I'm doing. Um, you can even organize some files or documents that you have in your desktop or on your folders, and you know that you had to get this project out quickly, and you were just rushing and saving everything everywhere, and it's important for you to be well documented and controlled. You can do that because it needs to happen. And while you know that you can't be excessively productive with tasks that demand a lot of attention, you can do those things. Folding laundry is a good example. Um, Prepping meals, and that's a big one. I mean, if you go and prep your meals on a Sunday, it just it just saves you so much time during the course of the week. And prepping meals is something, again, that you can incorporate with habit number three that we spoke about. So that is a good example. Um, and then tidying up your workspace, filing your paperwork, which I would suggest that if you're living in today's um, generation, there shouldn't be a lot of paperwork. But in any event, that can be a subject for a different time. So it's important that when you match your tasks to your energy levels, that you maximize your efficiency without burning yourself out. So um, you need to know where your peak is, all right? And basically listen to yourself and tie those goals to those specific tasks when you know it's the most demanding. So I scheduled most important tasks for the afternoon, and it turns out my afternoon brain is more suited to napping than decision making. And that's obviously, again, just a corny joke, but it's got some truth to it. The fact that you get in the afternoon, that's why worldwide it's known that people talk about an afternoon nap. It's because you are tired. Your body is telling you that, listen here, I've been grafting today. I need a break. I need to chill. So listen to your brain, manage all your different tasks, know that your capacity is different during the course of the day, and it can only help you to save some time and schedule these important tasks during the day appropriately with the task that you're supposed to finish. And then we get into habit number five, time blocking. So, no, I'm not talking about stopping the watch and just blocking time. It would be great if that was possible, but it's not. So, this is a popular one, right? This is used by people like Elon Musk, Bill Gates. Time blocking is setting a specific amount of time for a specific task and sticking to it. The key is to set realistic, not comfortable goals. For example, if I set aside, call it 5 hours to wash my car, it'll take me 5 hours because I will procrastinate, knowing I have the time to do it in 5 hours. But if I give myself 2 hours, I'll get it done in 2 hours because I know that I need to stay focused. So, allowing yourself more time than what is necessary just so that you're comfortable ultimately wastes time. So, it's very important that you set realistic goals because no one's going to stay motivated if they're failing the whole time. But it's important to set realistic goals to achieve these different time blocking and slots. So time blocking also connects to habit number 1 and habit number 4. So by knowing your productivity peaks, you can block time off for more demanding tasks during those hours. Again, a good example is if you need to really consume information or know that you need to study hard for a test, it's not wise to do it after you come back from work, went to the gym, finished a large dinner, and now know that, oh, now I need to figure out how to get this information in my brain. It's better to start off the morning fresh, get that information in your brain, when your focus is still strong, and also evaluate yourself of when are you the most effective with high demanding tasks. So what I would say though is how to start with time blocking. So it's important at the beginning or the end of the week that you take 20 minutes to time block your activities for the week ahead. So you'll notice that if you're time blocking your activities, right, that means that your you need a to-do list to do that. And that's what I'm saying is you're going to go through these different steps and you're going to start integrating more and more time saving habits and time management strategies as you go through it. But it's important to start that early in the week or do it at the end of the week so that um, you have a better understanding of what is expected and is already finalized. It's not a thing that you still need to do. So as you get better at estimating the time that specific tasks will take you, right, you'll free up even more of your time for yourself. So as you go through, originally I'll use my car wash example again, but originally you might have booked yourself 4 hours to wash your car on the Sunday, right? And as you've washed your car over 2 or 3 weekends, you'll start understanding or recognizing that, oh, it actually only takes me 2 hours. So revise your time blocking, right? To continue achieving, striving and saving that additional time that you're making. So it's very important that you don't that you recognize the time that you save, because what you're doing with this 5 habits is that you're inducing more time in your life so that you can utilize that precious time to whatever extent you want to. If it's spending time with family, if it's going swimming, if it's taking a tour, jogging a little bit more, or going for walks, it's important to basically treat yourself for the work that you've done. So, if we need to recap quickly about the 5 habits, the first one, like we talked about, is have a portable to do list. So, keep tasks handy with apps like Todoist, Google Keeps, or Microsoft To Do List. Those integrate again well with any software, any cloud base, so you can utilize it over a broad spectrum of of your life. Number 2 is eliminate the small time wasters. This is a pretty important one. It had a big impact on me personally. Just knowing that just not scrolling for 5 minutes a week or a day for a whole week gives you a full hour. Habit stacking, combine a passive activity with an active one for double productivity. Important, don't stack a passive or active and active activity, because it's jogging in front of the sink, might end up in emergency. So then you get to that not all time is created equally. Align your tasks with your energy levels throughout the day. Time blocking is number 5. Allocate time blocks to ask to tasks and stick to them. So, running through these 5 habits basically gave me a massive kickstart into my days and my weeks. It gave me the opportunity to manage my time more proficiently, to spend time with my other bananas. So it's important to look to incorporate it. So now it's time to start incorporating these habits into your life. And it's important to remember you don't have to implement all of them at once. Start with one or two of them and gradually build from there. So over time, you'll notice how much more productive and less stressed you feel, right? As you go through and build on each of these habits one at a time. And basically, what happens is all of these end up integrating into a whole system that just affords you more time during the day, during the nights, during weekends, and holiday to be more proactive and have more time for you to utilize in any aspect of your life that you would like to. If you want to start a side hustle or do everything that you want to. Me personally, I incorporated it into my life. I am a very high driven individual. And again, like I said, it's very awkward for me to be on a live stream because it's outside of my personality, but it's something that I want to do. It's a challenge that I want to get over, right? I've got great knowledge, I've got great experience, and I would like to continue sharing it with the world. And that's how I got into incorporating these 5 habits into my life, allowing me the opportunity to take a step further and start broadcasting this to an audience. So, with that, um, I want to say thanks for tuning in today. But then again, I don't think there's a lot of people tuned in, but I'm very confident that it would grow. I'm planning on doing a full, call it 8 or 9 different steps pertaining to time management strategies, and I am committing to at least 2 weeks, two times a week, to do a live stream similar to this one, where I run through advice and experience and everything that I just have that I would like to share with people and have them involved and hopefully can learn from that. Ultimately, as I mentioned at the start of this video, it is something that I want to grow, where it's a little bit more interactive, where we have people live asking questions or telling us how their day was, and yeah, and I'm very excited for when we get there. So let's win back our time and make room for what truly matters. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And if you do watch this post the live session, please still comment. And I look forward to hopefully or maybe see you in the next one. Keep it real.